You want to know a secret? I don't really like the Mercedes hand. Shh. You can hear the pitchforks coming. Hey guys, I'm Max and welcome back to Retro Watch. So today we're in this beautiful park doing a little exploring and it got me thinking, many a time did I almost buy a Rolex Explorer, but I just couldn't decide. There's a 36mm 5-digit Explorer which felt a little bit small for a sports watch. And then there is the 6-digit 39mm modern Explorer, which I think with that case would just be a little bit big for me. So I've always wondered what it'd be like to have a mid-size Explorer, but it doesn't exist in the real world. So what are we gonna do? Let's try to build it. And here's the watch. It's my Seiko SARB033. Now this was actually my first mechanical watch. I bought it years ago because TGV told me that it was pure class. And I really enjoyed wearing it, but it's been sitting in the back of my watch box, and let's try to breathe some new life into it. So to remove the crown, you push down on the lever with a divot on it. I use a toothpick so I don't scratch up the metal parts. This watch features a 6R15 Seiko movement, which has hacking and hand winding. To get the movement out, we have to loosen these retaining clips. There are 2 of them. By the way, the tools that are used in this build will be listed in the description below. So carefully remove these guys, put them somewhere safe. I just put it in the case back, flipped over. So at this point, the movement should be loose. We plop it on something soft and flip it over and put it into this movement holder. We're going to temporarily put the stem back in, which allows us to adjust the time. To do that, you just use the reverse order of how you took it out. The idea is to set the hands all to the 12 o'clock position, allowing them to be removed. We take this plastic cover to protect the hands from scratches. Take your hand puller, find the center position and give it a squeeze, and that should release the hands. Next, we're going to try to free the dial from the movement, and I'm showing you the feet on the dial. They're held on by a couple of screws. You just have to give these screws a half turn so that they're no longer putting pressure onto the dial feet. And once you do that, you can take a screwdriver and just separate the dial from the movement. So once you do that, we actually have to do a little bit of surgery on the SARB dial. This is the chapter ring. We need to actually harvest this and reuse it because the SARB dial is actually a couple of millimeters wider than your aftermarket Seiko 5 dials. So I'm showing you the 4 small rivets that actually need to be drilled out in order to separate these 2 pieces. I'm using this little file that I have. You can use a drill bit or a Dremel tool will probably work well here. Once you drill those out, you can pry the chapter ring off of the old dial. Now this is probably the point of no return, so do it at your own hazard. Here's the new dial mounted to the movement. It is from Lucius Atelier. Dagaz also makes this type of a dial, and the hands are also got from Dagaz. I'll put the links in the description. So we're just installing the hour hand with the hand press. For the minute hand, I've actually chosen to reuse the one from the SARB because it looks the same as the broad arrow handset, but has some additional details that I like. The hand press comes with the whole apparatus, but I usually just use the tip with my hands because I find that it gives me more precision. The second hand is real delicate. It takes a lot of tries to get it to position correctly, but once you do, press it on. And it should look like this. Once you get all the hands installed, you want to give it a few spins. Make sure that there's no interference, that nothing is catching on each other or rubbing. And then I line up all the hands together and look at it from the side and make sure, again, that the alignment is correct. We take the old chapter ring, place it on the new dial. Actually fits pretty nicely. Now you want to blow everything off with a hand pump. Make sure that there are no dust particles trapped in between. Take the case, place it onto the movement, give it some pressure, and then flip it all over. Next, we need to reinstall the movement holder. Find the right gap and align it with the stem. And put the stem and crown back in. It's usually at this point that I flip the watch back over and look real closely to make sure that no dust has collected on the dial before we reinstall the retaining clips. Get our screwdriver, and usually I give it a half turn counterclockwise first to feel the screw seat before I turn it clockwise to tighten it. It's an old trick that a car mechanic taught me to keep the screws from cross-threading. Once that's all nice and snug, we reinstall the case back. Probably want to keep blowing this thing off with the pump in between these steps to make sure no dust gets in. And flip the watch over and it should look like this. Good, so let's get the bracelet back on and take it for a spin. Here's the watch on the Seiko SARB bracelet. Now, Seiko bracelets get a lot of flack, and sure, I don't enjoy the stamped clasp, but other than that, this bracelet suits the watch really well. What I really love is the way that SARBs fit on the wrist. With its compact lugs that curve downward, there's essentially no gap between this watch and my wrist. We'll go ahead and review the dimensions of the SARB. You know, for me, these are the perfect dimensions for a watch. I also love how the broad arrowhead mirrors the triangular shape of the 12 o'clock index. You know, I feel like there's a lot of Seiko 5 mods out there that spend reams of money switching out the crystal and the movement, sometimes the crown. but still just end up with a pretty basic case. And as a package, I feel like this watch is able to achieve a higher level of refinement. It can be casual, it can be dressy, you know, it's really everything that an Explorer ought to be, just in a medium-sized package. Okay, boys and girls, that was the build of the, what are we going to call it? The Seiko Explorer broad arrow. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe below. It'll really encourage me to make more videos like this. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.